वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं. Many times when Bhagavad Gita is explained, especially by the scholars, many times to establish their views, they say that Bhagavad Gita principally says about a particular concept or particular philosophy. For example, that Bhagavad Gita says mainly about karma, how to do karma. This was the view by one very famous Indian freedom fighter, but also a great scholar, Bal Gangadhar Tilak. So he says Bhagavad Gita is all about karma. Again, Bhagavad Gita says more about bhakti, somebody says it says about jnana. But there are quite few shlokas, quite few verses, which seems to be telling us that whichever path you follow, if you are good in that, if you are dedicated and committed to that, then spiritual progress is possible. So there is one shloka which came on our way on chapter number 4. Tad viddhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninaha tattvadarshinaha. You know for certain that those who have achieved knowledge, you can learn from them. How you learn? 3 ways are told, which clearly defines this, that there are principal 3 paths which are prescribed in the scriptures. Pranipatena. Pranipata means to pay respects, to do pranam, so to say. That seems to be representing bhakti. Pariprashnena, by asking questions. How you can know the truth by asking question? You cannot simply ask a question until you have studied and you have doubts. Then only you can ask questions. So this seems to be the path of jnana, path of knowledge. And sevaya, by seva, by service. This seems to be karma. So in the same shloka, Sri Krishna says these 3 aspects: pranipata, pariprashna and seva. Through this, you know the truth. That means by karma, by jnana or by bhakti. Bhagavad Gita is not one-sided scripture. It is, Krishna says to Arjuna, it is not a narrow-minded person says to someone else. So there is no reason for us to tell that Bhagavad Gita says only one path. For example, when we read the life of Sri Ramakrishna, many people have described seeing his life and reading his teachings. People say, look, he was so much devoted to Mother Kali and he was a perfect bhakta. So he followed Bhakti Marga. His teachings many times says about jnana. That Advaita is the highest. Advaita is the last word. Again, many times in his life we find he says that God has become everything. Not that this is an expression, this is what he realized and he felt. So that seems to be Vishishta Advaita Vedanta. Here, we, just for our understanding, today I was talking to some devotees in the morning. If you hear the lectures on Vedanta without preparatory scriptures, which can prepare you to understand those concepts, there is a text called Vedanta Sara, the essence of Vedanta. It is written few hundred years before by Sadananda Yogindra. That book is nothing but, when you say Ishvara, what do you mean by Ishvara? When you say Jiva, what do you mean by Jiva? When you say Satya, what do you mean by Satya? So until you have this clear idea about the individual concepts of Vedanta or Hinduism, how you can understand the philosophy which is expounded with the help of those words? Nothing to be big scholar about it. But our understanding will be wrong if you take the colloquial, general meaning which lay people give. So it is necessary to understand the basic ideas of Vedanta. Then we tell people to read Bhagavad Gita. Even if you do not know Sanskrit, just read whichever language you know. Read the translation. And then try to read the original text. Then you try to read Upanishads. If you directly read Upanishads, maybe because of the less knowledge of the basic scriptures, you won't be able to appreciate the ideas of Vedanta. Then what you hear 10 times, you remember that, oh, word is unreal, Brahman is real. What do you mean by Brahman? What do you mean by truth? What do you mean by Jagat? What do you mean by Mithya? If you do not know the meaning of, technical meaning of these 4 words, how you understand the meaning of that sentence? That's why scriptural reading is a step-by-step process. But now we don't have time in our life. You have a YouTube videos, just switch on something and directly hear scriptures. Oh, I'm reading Advaita Vedanta. And I've seen people casually talking about these things. It doesn't serve the purpose. I remember when we had a lecture by Swami Samachittananda, in the What of Things I told, that what you heard, like a Mount Everest, if you are standing near Delhi, you can talk about Mount Everest, you cannot reach until you start walking towards the mountain. You go to the foothill of Himalayas, slowly start climbing it. Just by talking Mount Everest, you don't reach Mount Everest. So this preparation is very much necessary if you are sincere about it. Otherwise, there is a path of bhakti that too is not that easy as we think of. Sri Ramakrishna asked a devotee, what do you like, bhakti or jnana? The devotee said, I like bhakti because it is easy. Sri Ramakrishna said, yes, it is easy, but not that easy as you think. Whether it is bhakti, whether it is karma, whether it is jnana, one has to put his heart and soul, time and body into it to progress. You can casually take it. It won't be giving that result to you. Of course, it is better to be in connection with these concepts, then not to be. But it will be just like knowing any other subject. What is the difference between a person who has renounced to find the truth and a university professor who give lectures on what is Brahman? Why people don't go to that elderly doctorate professor and touch his feet and ask for initiation or blessings or something? People don't go. Why? And if there is a person who is not that highly educated, he is not a scholar, but he lives the life. So idea is, spiritual life demands us to live the life. If I don't live the life, whatever I am doing will not be helpful. Apparently, whatever people understand me, that doesn't make me worthy of knowing the truth. Total dedication of heart and soul, that only is required for any kind of progress. There is a very old example. If you have to remove the blackness of the charcoal, any amount of soap you use to wash it, again you put, it will make a black sign only from the charcoal. The only way to remove the blackness of the charcoal is to put fire into it. This is a very old example in our scriptures. It's in Hindi. They say, there is a proverb, कोयला का मैला छूटे जब आग करे प्रवेश. When fire enters into charcoal, then only the blemish or the blackness of the charcoal can be removed. There is no other way to remove. If there is darkness in the room, complete dark, is there any way other than the light to remove the darkness? You say, I request the darkness to go. I prostrate, I cry, I weep, darkness will not go. You say, I will call police, darkness doesn't go. You show the knife, gun to threat the darkness, darkness doesn't go. But a simple small light you bring, darkness will go. That is the meaning of jnana, or the knowledge. Knowledge is the only thing which has a capacity to remove the ignorance. To remove ignorance, that's why many verses are there, shlokas are there. Can your ignorance go telling that I am so wealthy? Ignorance doesn't care whether you have money or not. Can you say ignorance will go because I am so good looking? No. Ignorance will go only with the help of knowledge and nothing else. Connection or relation to be established with your God, chosen deity, is only the bhakti. Whatever activity you do, same activity, with devotion becomes spiritual, without devotion becomes a common action. That's why we all come to the same temple. But the effect of that is different in different people. It's because our attitude is different. If people come with a social attitude, if people say, oh, I just go to kill time, or people say, oh, I just go because I can meet some people. Like children, as a child when we used to go to temple, We are not interested in the temple, we are interested in the prasadam only. And that happens when people get older also. Many times during big celebration, when huge crowd is there, just observe, there will be 5 to 10% people, they don't even visit the temple. They come take prasad and go. Is it a prasad? No. Let food become prasad provided you have devotion. You can have devotion without going to temple also, could be. I have no right to say no. Otherwise it remains a simple food. There is a song, devotional song written by the great poet saint called Ram Prasad, little before Sri Ramakrishna. And he has written so many songs. In that he writes one song. How many times you go and do pradakshina to the temple? No. But if your spirit is okay, wherever you walk is like a pradakshina to the temple. It's your attitude, it's your concept which makes a simple act an act of devotion. So that is important. So a few slokas Krishna says about that even if you be the worst sinner, we are ordinary people. We do not use the word sinner in the way the Christians use. Hinduism doesn't have a concept of permanent hell or eternal heaven. We don't have that concept. The heaven and hell concept in Hinduism is like negative points and positive points. You accumulate some points, with that money you can go to some resort, spend some time and come. So that is like Swarga. But your spiritual progress happens neither in Swarga nor in Naraka, neither in hell or heaven. It happens in this Loka, Prithvi Loka. So idea is this, he says, that if you achieve the knowledge, whatever kind of person you are, you can cross over this ocean of ignorance. Can it happen? Sri Krishna says, Apichet suduracharo bhajante mam ananya bhak sadhureva samantavya. A person who apparently is not good person, but if he develops bhakti and then slowly that bhakti cures him, makes him slowly a good person, he becomes eligible for crossing this ocean. So he says, jnana. Jnana is that which has a capacity to purify your mind. Bhagavad Gita says in one more place, Nahi jnanena sadrisham pavitram iha vidyate. There is nothing purifying factor than the knowledge. Knowledge is purifying factor. It's not information, it's knowledge. We have some words which we use, sometimes we mix up the meaning. Information, knowledge, and wisdom. You can read Bhagavad Gita, you can become scholar. Maybe you are on the stage of information only, you collect information. Which sloka, which chapter, what says. It may not have anything to do with your own life. Slowly that information is converted into knowledge. What is knowledge? Knowledge is first to know that I do not know. To be aware that I do not know. There is a dearth of something. Then you study, then you talk, then you have a conversation with people who know little more about it. Then you take a concept and meditate about it. You have information, then comes cogitation. You keep on thinking about it. Then comes meditation. You deeply think about the truth which you think you have brewed from the scripture. Continuously, attentively think in your daily life how to practice this. Values are not only to know. We give this example. Satyam vada, speak truth. Who doesn't understand meaning of this? Everybody understands. Satyam vada, speak truth. But who really have understood it? One who only speaks truth, who doesn't tell lies. Word meaning, everybody understands. That's called information. Then comes this knowledge that it is not enough to know the meaning of Satyam Vada. It is necessary to speak truth. That becomes knowledge. And when you start speaking truth only and not telling lies, then you slowly become a wise person. This is one example, one value. There are so many values. It is okay to come to know about those values, but it is not enough only to know the values. To practice those values in life may be very difficult for some time for us. But there is no way. A lot of patience is required to lead a spiritual life. A lot of tenacity is required. You will fall, you will slow down. What is that which gives you zeal to pursue? We all are in the same boat, nobody is greater. Our life is ups and downs. What makes us, every time we fall, every time we slow down, what is that which pushes me to do that? To read scripture, to do japa, to do meditation, to consciously practice values. That concept has to be there. That wherever I am, there are certain things which we cannot sacrifice. Whether you like it or not me, even Harivathar says, even if you don't like, even if you don't have mood, even if you need to do mechanically, but keep on doing japa. Spiritual practice cannot be compromised. Sometimes physically we are not well, sometimes mentally we are disturbed. So we are not able to do it the way it should be done. But having said that, we cannot stop doing that. Maybe the quality of our doing spiritual practice is little compromised. Let it be. But we cannot give up the practice. Then that thing will keep on pushing us. One incident is there. We had a great Swami who became the 7th president of our order, Swami Samachittananda. A young man was serving him assistant. So being the assistant of President Swamiji, he used to remain very busy in the daytime. When President Swamiji during evening prayer time, he will sit in his room and meditate quietly. That was the time this assistant can go out and visit the temples and all that. So this Shankaranji asked that assistant, what do you do during prayer time? He expected the result that I go to prayer. Because his service is not required, because the Swami will do meditation. You don't need to attend him. So he said, no, whole day I don't get time. So during prayer time in Belur Math, during prayer time, I stroll at the bank of Ganges. So Swami Shankaranji told him, that Swami directly told us. Shankaranji told him, never miss prayer. The habits which you will hold on to in your young age, that good habit will hold on to you in your old age. Now you be very regular in prayer, japa, meditation. And then you continue it for years. When we will grow old enough that we won't be able to do what we are doing today. I remember many people used to come for regular class. Now they cannot come. Not that they do not want to come, but physically they cannot. So they have to be home. Maybe somebody is there online hearing. So when physically you cannot do, what will prompt you, what will hold on to you is the good habits which you have practiced when you were relatively able-bodied. This is required. Spiritual practice has this meaning. When you keep on doing spiritual practice, a time will come when that practice will hold to you. It will not allow you to fall. It will not allow you to sink. It will allow you to float. It will allow you to progress. Singing the glory of knowledge, Krishna says, just like a small spark of fire can burn the forest. Remember last year, California fire? Country like America cannot control it. When the fire came very close to our center in California, we got a notice also from government that you will wait only one day, then you vacate. Fortunately, the fire stopped and it was not required for our center to evacuate. So idea is this, one small spark of fire has a capacity to burn the whole forest. In the same way, little light has a capacity to remove the darkness of the room. Sri Ramakrishna tells in his inimitable way, if a room is pitch dark for 1,000 years, your one matchstick can remove the darkness, however old it is. That is the beauty of knowledge. We may be ignorant, we may be covered with maya and ignorance and whatnot. For births after births after births, could be. But little knowledge will dispel the darkness. So he says, as a blazing fire reduces piece of wood to ashes, in the same way, the fire of knowledge reduces all actions to ashes. Here action means all your samskaras, all your tendencies, bad tendencies get destroyed just by coming in contact with this knowledge. This is not poetry, this is reality. Most of us, because of the lack of that strong pursuit, our life change in our life comes very slowly, very slow. We do not see that much spiritual progress in our life so fast because it is very slow. But there are some who, from a most ordinary person, become a saint overnight. Sri Ramakrishna says, It is like a fountain which is covered with concrete. As soon as you remove the concrete, water starts coming up. That is the beauty of knowledge. That, as I told Sri Ramakrishna's words, thousands of years also if the room is dark, it doesn't require thousands of years again to enlighten it. Simple light comes, darkness will go. Knowledge has that power. So it is good that this knowledge of any type, the type of ignorance you are talking about, knowledge of that type has to be understood. It may be good even as an information. Many times we say to the devotees, we also learn the same from the senior monks. Don't try to do something that overnight you become a great. Go slow. Many times our body and mind cannot take it. For example, if you are sleeping 8 hours in the night, 10 o'clock you slept, you wake up only at 7 o'clock. Suddenly you decide, no, from tomorrow I will sleep at 12 o'clock in the night and wake up at 4 o'clock. You cannot do it. Do something which is achievable and sustainable. A habit which you can achieve and which you can sustain. If I am waking up at 6 o'clock, okay, from tomorrow I will wake up at 5:45. Doable and sustainable. Today you are doing half an hour japa. Maybe you say, okay, now onwards I will do for 40 minutes. Doable. Suddenly from half an hour, don't tell for 2 hours I will do japa. You cannot do it. Even if you can do 1 or 2 or 3 days, you cannot sustain. Swami Vivekananda told in one place, your ideal should not be so high that you cannot reach it, that you cannot achieve it. And your ideal should not be so low that you do not have to put any effort in achieving that. With little effort, taking one step forward in our spiritual life. And that encourages you. If you can complete it, it encourages you. If from half an hour you go to 40 minutes and can sustain this 40 minutes for 15-20 days, you feel confident. Then 40 can become 45 or 50. So sudden big change is not advisable. Reading scriptures, for example, don't try to read which you cannot understand. I always give my example, no need to give somebody's example. Sometimes we feel we are very intelligent, we can understand anything. Somebody should be there to make us understand. What is the big deal about it? So I did an experiment with myself. I choose a subject which I do not know anything about. And really a great professor is teaching in college. His recorded lectures are on YouTube. So I said, what a big deal. I will hear the lectures and understand what I want to understand, quantum physics. First lecture, somehow I could understand. From second lecture, I can't understand anything what he says. Why? Because you are not informed about it. You have to go slowly, study from kindergarten to primary to secondary to college, directly attend master degree class. You cannot understand. Same thing goes to scriptures. That's why we say, we had a great Swami, who was a Vice President Maharaj, Swami Prabhanandaji. He was taking classes for us. He used to tell, whichever book you want to read, especially scriptures, first give a simple reading. Don't try even to understand it. Just read it. Read it with patience and concentration. But don't try to understand. I'm not able to understand this line, that line. Don't try to force yourself. Just read. At least you will come to know what is there in that scripture, more or less. Then try to read chapter by chapter, explained by some scholars and Swamis and all that. Suddenly if you say, no, I want to read Shankaracharya's Bhashya, you cannot understand. So those who are serious, if you think you want to read Bhagavad Gita, don't try to take up Adi Shankaracharya's commentary on Bhagavad Gita. Even if you can start, you cannot continue. Rather, first read just the translation of Bhagavad Gita. Again, I am telling, I will not tell any name here, but don't take up any book. Don't take up any translation, because the translator's views will reflect in his translation. Which Krishna doesn't say, he says. So he will twist the meaning and put it. So we always say that those who are neutral, those who are read and translate without putting his own state of mind. We have many publications on Bhagavad Gita. Any book that you can take. Read a simple translation. I remember a very professor of a very high level of science faculty. So he says, I have never read Bhagavad Gita. So I told, when you are going to America next? A few times in a year he goes for lectures and all that. So I said, I'm going next month. So I said, take one Bhagavad Gita book. Read only translation, simple translation. Once you read 16 hours while going, second time you read 16 hours while coming back. It will require hardly 2 to 3 hours if you slowly read. Just English translation, no commentary, nothing, just slokas translation. He did it and told me, now I know at least what Bhagavad Gita wants to say in general. Then when we say in details, he is able to understand. Nahi jnanena sadrisham pavitram vidyate. There is nothing purifying factor than jnana or the knowledge. There is nothing purifying. Knowledge purifies you up to what level? Not only destroys your ignorance. Destruction of ignorance is followed by change in your character, change in your personality, change in your liking, disliking, change in your purpose of life. Complete change comes. So, idea is this, that Bhagavad Gita in different places speak about that which changes you. Here is the idea. Here is the idea. I always say there are 3 types of lectures. When people give lectures, 3 types. One is informative. Talk about a great saint, where he was born, what he did, stories of their life. Informative. Second type of lectures are based on scriptures, where the intellectual part comes into it. And the third is how these scriptures or how these great people's life can be helpful to us in our life. To read the books or scriptures from that point of view. Application of scriptures, application of the great lives. So we are trying from that point of view, that how we can improve. Krishna told to Arjuna became a knowledgeable person. What I got out of it? We had one Swami, senior Swami, once upon a time he was in Singapore, during whose time kindergarten and counseling center started. Swami Jai Devananda ji. He was our principal in training center. He used to say he always used to say from this point of view. He said, you have not understood Bhagavad Gita, even if you become scholar of Bhagavad Gita, until you start feeling that Krishna is not telling to Arjuna, Krishna is telling to me, then your understanding of Bhagavad Gita starts. When you read the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, yes, Sri Ramakrishna is telling to Master Mahashaya and others, that's fine. When you start feeling that Sri Ramakrishna is telling me to do what I should be doing, then your understanding of scripture, understanding of the book changes. And change starts coming in your life. There is no purpose of scriptures unless it brings change in our life. If it doesn't bring any change, either there is wrong in the scriptures, either there is wrong in our process of reading it, either we are not fit. Because of that, the change doesn't come in us. So it is very much necessary that even if you read the scriptural meaning, the word meaning, explanation by the great scholars, everything is fine. Just see whether it only satisfies your intellect. You feel a little more scholarly, more knowledgeable. But unless it starts changing our life, we won't be able to progress, we won't be able to understand. There are always prerequisite, what do you call it? Eligibility. If you have to become eligible, knowledge is there in the book. Even if you read the book, you can't understand it, or you cannot apply that to your life unless you become eligible. That eligibility comes in terms of a bit of control over yourself, your mind and senses. Krishna says always that even if you don't have full 100% control over your senses and your mind, at least start understanding this concept that I must have control. If you are controlled by your mind, if you are pulled or chased by your own senses, your hope is not there to progress. So this control is required. Faith is fine. You must have a faith in your Ishta, in your Guru, in your scriptures. And also ready for a change. It's not easy to get corrected. It is not easy to be changed. It takes time. And with little control over the senses and mind, person can achieve the knowledge. And once the knowledge dawns, when slowly the ignorance, the inertia, the negativity, the tamas, inertia is tamas, slowly that will be destroyed. Our change comes slowly. Those who do a lot of japa and meditation, slowly change comes in them. You don't need to force yourself to change. You automatically change. Your interest will change. Your enthusiasm for negative things will change. We progress slowly. So this is the idea. We will be, there are some more shlokas in this fourth chapter. We'll take up next. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu